morning from a very snowy snow day in Chicago. I'm back home and it's really coming down out there. And I woke up this morning and I had parked last night on kind of a major thoroughfare in my area, and it dawned on me, oh, I gotta move my car, because when there's snow over 2 inches, they'll plow and you'll get ticketed if your car is parked in the wrong place. And I was like, oh man, I got really lucky. I remembered. And also that it's a time of day when people are still going to work, even though I was fortunate enough to not be working. You guys know I never want to take time off work, but my dispatcher had the foresight to say, hey, you need to be home this weekend. Do you really want to go out tomorrow? Because if you do, there's a chance I won't be able to get you back, because at GP, one of the things that they do is if weather's bad enough, they will ground drivers, you know? That's just a kind of company that wants to be ultimately safe. So rather than taking risks by giving drivers discretion in certain, not always, you know, it's not like it's a universal thing for the whole company or something. It's like, if these drivers are in this area where it's super dangerous and there's like 5 trucks in a ditch already, we're going to prevent that from happening with our drivers. Which brings up kind of a valid point that not all of us have the ability to discern when we should or should not be driving. And I think that's just always going to be a legitimate conversation. I can't say enough good about, I've been following Old Guy 379, who I talked about in another video, and I think his channel is great. I think it's going to blow up, and I hope it does, because we need more voices of really seasoned drivers who really know, who've been through so many scenarios that they can speak to all these things. And some of the stuff that's just this snow is super wet and heavy, and it's like falling in clumps off of the trees. That's what just hit my car. We need people like that who can say things and mention things that you might not have thought about. He made a video, which I'll link in this, because I was like, wow, this is a great video on how to be better prepared for winter weather as a truck driver. And like, one of the things I've heard numerous times from experienced drivers is don't drive, I forget the exact phrase they tend to use, but don't drive beyond your experience. Like, you know, stay in your lane, which means, you know, if you don't feel confident driving in mountains where it's a little bit icy, then don't, you know, just get off the road. But a lot of drivers are stifled by ego issues that lead them to make dangerous decisions because they don't want to admit that they don't feel comfortable or confident doing something. And I even have a hard time with that, because I've lived for so long in winter weather that I think I can be at risk of being overly confident. So I have to be really mindful of like, okay, well, this is an exception. And I have a feeling that if conditions are that bad, my company is going to ground me before I get a chance to ditch myself. So, yeah, I'm home a day early, which is fine, because I would rather not be stuck somewhere, unable to drive, unable to earn, and also like far from home. I'm home. It's great. I just reparked my car. There's plenty of parking spots. I really wanted to run some errands today, but now I'm kind of like, I don't know if that's really wise to drive anywhere. Not just because the roads are crappy. Like, I don't mind that. That's one other thing. I have a Subaru, man, and there's no better car for winter weather, period. It's a great little car. It eats snow, but also this snow is not difficult. It's heavy, wet snow, so it doesn't like, you're not like skidding or struggling to park or anything, but it's messy. It's real messy, and it definitely hampers visibility. So I might not go out today just because it might just be more of a hassle than it's worth, and more difficult to find parking when I come home. Not having a parking space or a garage in this kind of weather, a real bummer. Yeah, so that's all I got to say. I'm actually gonna go over to the lake. I have my towels and stuff right here. I am going to see if I can take a dip in the lake. I know that sounds totally nuts to some people. It's very windy, and sometimes, surprisingly, in these conditions, the water itself is calmer. Kind of doubt it, but I'm gonna walk over there and take a look, so we'll see. And now to give you an idea of what it's like outside the car, I have sunglasses on because this is blowing like sideways right into my eyeballs, even though it's kind of dark for sunglasses. But this is the beauty of Chicago winter. Personally, I freaking kind of love it. You know, for driving, the wet snow is not so bad as long as the temperature doesn't drop too much, but for walking around outside, it's not very pretty. And if you can hear the way that wind is howling, which I know you can, oh yeah, the lake is a hard pass. I can already tell by looking at it from here. But I figured, but sometimes it's weird. This volume of wind though, this is on another level. I opened my door to my apartment and I heard that. I was like, oh no, it's not happening today. But I'm gonna walk over there so I can show it to you guys. These have gotta be like 40 mile, at least 30 mile per hour. Oh my God. Dude, this in a long time. I've done it a couple of times, but the water conditions in the lake are not safe to go in today. There's some pretty good sized waves. So I'm doing laying on the beach cold exposure, laying in the snow. The snow's not very deep, but it definitely does the job. I still wear my gloves and I still wear my neoprene booties. The air temperature is pretty low today, and obviously laying directly on the snow is woo, it is chilly. So I'm not gonna lay here for very long. I mean, you know, exposure, but that's the whole point. It's cold exposure. I've been craving it so much for my aching muscles, and actually since I filmed a video clip that I included recently where I was oh, that feels so good. I just put my arm down and it's like I filmed a clip where I was talking about the pain I've been dealing with in my hip and my lower back, and it's just when I have this kind of stuff, it really makes me want to get in the cold. You can do cold showers, but I have a shower with terrible water pressure and it's totally not worth it. I also, actually, I forgot about this. I could just do an ice bath at home, and I have done that plenty of times. I don't know why I didn't think about that. I got a chance to exercise at the terminal. They have a really nice little gym in there. I was a personal trainer for a long time. I'm sorry if you've already heard that spiel, but I don't know who's new watching my videos. So there's a couple things I would add to that gym, but it's a good little space. It's great. And there's usually almost nobody in there, which is unfortunate, but also great. I mean, who among us truck drivers has time to go to the gym? Not very many, unfortunately. So I got to exercise though the other day, and I did a really very light strength training workout, and a little bit of time on the treadmill, some intervals, and my pain is so much less, you know. And it depends. Working out is a mixed bag for me because of some of the pain issues I have. I have to be careful. I used to go really hard every day, 6 days a week, a couple 2-3 hours a day. I was into bodybuilding. I beat myself up really bad, and now I'm kind of paying the price for it. Paying the price in your 40s for what you did in your 20s on many levels. Oh, I love this. I'm starting to like, you have to kind of, when you're doing cold, you have to consciously relax because you'll tense up a lot and you don't need to. You just need to keep your head space calm and breathe, and that's part of why I love it so much. Is it's another type of meditation. It's overcoming fear, overcoming discomfort, and telling yourself, recognizing that you're safe. And obviously there's potential for danger, but if you're mindful of how you're handling it, like I'm wearing a hat, I have my extremities covered, and I'm not going to stay out for very long. I have my warm clothes right here. I've got some hot hands hand warmers in my pocket of my jacket, and I'm a very short distance away from my indoor warm space. Oh, this feels awesome. This feels so good. Unfortunately, though, my fingers are starting to get pretty numb, so I'm gonna have to call it a minute here, but oh, it's just relaxing. Feels really good. I love it. But let me show you the lake. So what's funny about the lake is you just can't always tell how bad it, like not bad, but you know how intense the waves are. They don't look very large from the shore at all, but there's a drop off. And when you get in there, like that wave that's coming, that's probably like 6 feet. You know, like if I was in that water, I would have to jump over it or swim under it, one of the two, or not get knocked down. The waves get more dangerous as you get towards shore like that. That'll knock you down. It's powerful. You gotta respect nature, man. Okay, let's get dressed. Okay, good morning. I'm getting ready to head out to the lake, and I think it's extremely unlikely that I'll go in today. I'm actually putting Aquaphor on my face, which is what I do when the temperatures are extreme. So with the wind chill, it's a few degrees below zero. And I know it sounds totally nuts to do cold immersion when the air temperature is that low, but you have to bear in mind the water temperature is like 40 degrees. So the biggest thing that is like potentially dangerous is exposure in those such low temperatures. You know, you're at a higher risk of frostbite, hypothermia in a shorter period of time. Obviously, these are things that I'm very aware of and very thoughtful about. But the whole thing then is when you get out of the water, you have to get dry and dressed as quickly as possible. And I'm hoping the thing that might determine whether or not I actually do this or if I just make a home ice bath is I believe I have some hand warmers in my storage unit downstairs. So I need to run and see if I do, because I can't find any in my apartment. And when it's this cold out, it's almost like pointless to not use them, because it can be extremely painful for one thing, and it can render your hands useless. And it's real hard to get dressed when you can't use your hands. It's kind of impossible. So yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna go in or not, but I have a feeling this will be the first day all weekend that there's like some sunlight out there and the water's nice and flat. I'm not sure if it is, because I'm looking over there, but I can't see it from here. I can't see the water. So I don't know, we'll see what happens. It is intensely cold out here, but of course it's the one day that the lake conditions are perfect. So I couldn't find any hand warmers, and as ill-advised as it might be, who am I to ever let ill-advised stop me? Oh man, the air temp is so cold. You can see the steam rising off of the lake. I'll show you. Okay, I did go in. It's hard to talk, obviously, but even though I know it like looks ridiculous and people will be like, why are you doing this to yourself? I just wanted to show you. This is the aftermath of cold exposure, and today it was really rough because the air temperature is so low. So this is the violent shaking part that happens, or violent shivering that happens after you get out. And it's not immediate, it's usually 10-15 minutes later, but it comes from deep in your body, making you, I can barely talk, it's making you move all crazy. I've never taken video of this. But like, it's hard to walk when you're like this, you're all jerky, you know, you're like, everything is just uncontrollably shaking. The water felt awesome, but getting out is really hard on days, oh, I can't talk. Getting out is hard on days like today. I'm running a hot bath, you can probably hear it. I'm gonna go get in that and warm up. Good morning, my friends, from my truck, and I just got back from home time last night, and I have hand warmers because it is bitter cold outside. My truck was running when I got back. It had a PM while I was gone. It had like a maintenance on it. So I asked the mechanic to leave it set however would be best so that my fridge was running, and then he said something about leaving it in opti-idle because it was better for the batteries, probably because of the cold, but it ran continuously overnight, which I love because I sleep like a baby when I'm in this truck and it's just running continuously, because when it goes on and off it'll wake you up, but when it stays on, it's like kind of vibrates and you're just lulled. It is, for me, super relaxing and definitely helps me sleep. But the downside is, for whatever reason, like obviously winter weather is dry, but this is in the truck, it gets exceptionally dry, so I always keep a vaporizer going right next to my bed, next to my head at that end of the bed. Not trying to rhyme, poet, I didn't even know it, and I need coffee. But while I make my morning drink, I thought I would just talk to you guys about a couple of things that are weighing on me. And, you know, good things and sad things. And basically, like, I've been thinking a lot about this truck driver who passed away, who was hit by the other driver in Tennessee. And I don't know about you guys, but I kind of have a tendency when I hear about something, usually like a death, or I have a tendency to, my initial reaction is kind of, I don't know how to explain that, but it's almost like I don't have an immediate reaction. And then usually like a day later, it kind of hits me and it starts to like get into my skin in a way where I can't shake it, and I'll just kind of think about it too much. And I'm feeling so sad for this driver, and I'm thinking about, one of the things that gets me about it, and I feel inclined to apologize for if I'm emotional about it, but he was 64, and I think he was probably someone's dad. I think about my dad, because my dad is a now basically retired truck driver, but in his late 60s, and that driver could have been my dad, just getting done with a hard day of driving. It's always probably hard when you're at that age and you've been doing it for so long, and you're just like, it's got to wear you down. It wears me down, and I'm 20 years younger than that. And I just think about, like, was that guy under a load? Did he just deliver something? What was his day like? What had he been thinking about? What was he looking forward to? And like, did he miss his family? And like, just for someone to just take him out and then be told that they did it and then leave, it's really crushing to me. It's just like, I feel so sorry for that man and his family. And it's just so senseless, man. And there's all kinds of senseless ways that people perish in this life. But it's really upsetting to think of one of us doing it to another one of us in a way that is so avoidable and so like just cold. And so that's been on my mind. Also, I wonder how other people are. This is totally shifting gears. That's been the big thing that's been on my mind and on my heart. And my heart really goes out to his family, and I hope so much that he didn't suffer. That's I need to stop. But I also wonder, on a completely different note, how people feel with this extreme weather. Oh, I didn't say that. I was going to say that. So part of the reason my truck ran continuously is that it's extremely cold, and I had a humbling experience with my valiant attempts at cold exposure, and Mother Nature humbled me this weekend. I learned a really important lesson, which is certain temperatures are too low to go out. I did go into the lake yesterday, and it could have been fine if I had obeyed my one rule that I normally have for myself about that, which is I never go out in below zero temperatures without these already like active and in my gloves. I can't even describe to you when it's below zero out the intensity of it. The water is so much warmer than the air temperature, and when you get out of the water, you can't get dressed quickly enough to protect yourself from that type of cold. And it was windy, but not crazy windy. I think it was like 17-mile-per-hour gusts, which isn't that bad. But I basically, long story short, I think I sort of gave myself borderline minor symptoms of frostbite in my fingertips, and it still hurts. Like, my fingers still feel weird, and I was like, you dumbass, don't do that. Like, nature is bigger than you, and don't be compulsive and be like, oh, I'll be fine. No. So that was a harsh lesson. I always come back from the lake and I run a hot bath. I usually will like just roll up my pant legs and stand in the water to thaw out my toes, and I'll stick my hands in the water to thaw out my hands. And when I'm warm enough, I'll let the water fill up, turn it off, walk to the Starbucks that's a block away, grab my coffee and stuff while I'm like jerking around like I'm on something. And because I'm on cold. And I will come back and take my bath, which I call a coffee bath because I have coffee and I'm in the bath because that's normal. My fridge is too full, which is a good problem to have. Because I just came back and bought all my groceries, including my delightful fresh OJ from the jewel. I yesterday went to do this ritual, went to stick my fingers in that water, and experienced a type of pain that was humbling and that I've never quite experienced before, quite like that. It was on another level of intense pain in my fingernails, more specifically, but in my fingertips, of a deep, intense ache. And the only thing that has been like remotely similar in my life is when I got these tattoos, which were excruciating, hands down, no pun intended. The most painful tattooing I've ever had are these dots along my fingernails. And there's actually a cool picture somewhere of this little pinky. Each of these dots is 7 tiny little dots, and they end up bleeding together over time. But I love these tattoos. I love my hand tattoos. But those were on another level of pain because they're on the joint. They're on bone. There's nothing there. It's like right by your fingernail. It hurts so bad. This reminded me of that because, you know, it's just such a similar area, those nerves in the fingertips. It made me nauseated. It's like it was because it wouldn't stop, because it just kept hurting for like a full couple of minutes, I guess. And then my fingertips didn't feel right for the rest of the day, and they still feel weird. And that's why I'm walking around using hot hands. And I was like, holy shit, don't do that again. That was real dumb. And that happens in a matter of minutes because I didn't have these with me and I had to get dressed. And it's really hard to pull your clothing back on because you literally can't feel your hands within about 30 seconds. I know this all sounds totally stupid. I'm only sharing it because I just think it's an interesting experience to have, and like, you know, most people don't have it. So maybe you're curious about like, hey, what happens when you're a total dumbass and you like get yourself in freezing cold water when the temperature is below zero? Actually, I think today is colder than yesterday. With the wind chill today, it's negative 19 degrees outside. Without the wind chill, it's like negative 3. So I just came back from my shower. There wasn't hot water. That was unfortunate in this weather. You just want a hot shower. You can't get one. Water pressure was great, but it was lukewarm. It was rough. And the shower room was ice cold. And it's like, the thing is, you can't get mad about it because in this weather, it's very hard to heat things. It's hard to keep places warm. Everything is drafty. It's like you feel how drafty everything is. My apartment will not stay warm enough when I'm home. I had to have my space heater on, and it just ran continuously because it's super drafty because it's a really old building that's directly next to Lake Michigan. And yeah, what I was going to say before is this type of cold, it's weird what it can do to you. It's like, you know, you guys know I like the cold a lot. Obviously I do Lake Michigan cold immersion in the winter, but there's something that's so just prohibitive to living life that you don't want to go out. You don't want to go anywhere. It was amazing how few people were on the roads yesterday. It was actually awesome. When I was coming back here last night, the traffic was really light. People were driving much more calmly than normal. It makes me think of how like bees and other insects like slow down when it's cold outside. It's like, oh, people just like kind of calmed down. They literally chilled out. That was kind of nice. The only other thing I wanted to tell you guys, I'm being long-winded per usual, is just in also thinking about this sad story, but like, I can't tell you how grateful I am for the friends I have in my life. And I also am super grateful for the people who watch this channel, who send positive words, encouragement, props for doing, you know, a tight back in a mom and pop delivery, and like, especially the seasoned drivers who are like saying, you're doing great, you are a real driver, or whatever. Like, it makes me I'm just so grateful for that. You guys don't even know, like, it feels really good. But also just like, I got to see most of my closest friends this weekend, and it's just a small handful of people, but I just am so grateful. And I am going to make this video talking about recovery because my best friends are from recovery, and there's people that I didn't see that I would like to see too, but I can't help but stop and just marvel at how fortunate I am to have people in my life who love me so much. And when you're alone on the road a lot of the time, and then you go home and you see all these people, like people who are just everything to me, I can't tell you what it means to like get a good strong hug from a friend that you love and that tells you how much they love you, and you're just like clinging to each other because you you just feel so connected, and those types of experiences are so much more special when you spend a lot of time alone. So not that I love being alone too. I enjoy my own company. I'm all right, you know. As in, I'm all right to hang out with. I'm cool, you know. I have a lot of little monologues / dialogues with my truck and myself and the animals I see, the random dogs. I'm like walking through a freaking lot and I'm like, oh, you're such a good dad for taking me on a walk. I can't help myself. It's so sad. Anyway, that's me as someone else's dog talking to the owner. Whatever. Okay, I'm gonna drink my drink and do my breathing exercises, and hopefully in about 45 minutes to an hour I'll hear from my dispatcher. He'll have a load for me. I don't know, but we'll find out. So thanks for listening to me ramble, and I'll talk to you later.